Did you guys watch Dynamite?
Yep.
All right. So this is called Holiday Bash. We should be getting the numbers about 15 minutes, I think. So as we
I
might
just
get,
looked.
huh? Yeah. So it always comes at
Okay.
4 p.m. Eastern.
Mhm.
So the show started off a little bit differently than usual. Okay, they show the Death Riders walking up, and I mean, I'm sorry, I gotta admit that they're not a very intimidating top faction. What visually looking when you see them. So Renee Paquette starts off with interviewing Orange Cassidy and Jay White backstage and asks if their focus is on the Death Riders or their title match at World's End because they're in the 4-way for the title at World's End, and now they're teaming with each other against the Death Riders because the Death Riders are the big heels and these guys are kind of baby faces. So White said his focus is on the AEW World Championship, but he knows he needs to make it to the pay-per-view, so he has to rely on Cassidy. And White said he's not stupid enough to rely on Hangman Page, who entered the room and said the championship is his. Okay, so he's one of the guys in the match. So, and they're all
So
they're all in this match together. They put the
let me bring up something that's very small, but I was like, what? Where was this taped? Washington, D.C., right?
Yeah.
Okay, which is obviously cold.
Mm-hmm.
So this was very weird. The very first segment, they're walking outside. It has to be cold. The Death Riders, and Pac is in his trunks.
Right.
And I'm like, why is this guy in his trunks if he's in the main event? And then the next thing you see Jay White and Orange Cassidy, who's going to wrestle him in the main event. I thought maybe they might be in their gear too, but no, they were dressed regularly. I wonder if this was something they had the tape late or something. I don't know. And then
or maybe this honestly has who's the guy we're talking about? These it was in his trunks. I just forgot. Have you ever seen Pac in anything beside his gear?
not really.
I don't think he's ever been on
No,
the
I
show.
don't
Something
think so.
that's he walks around all the time in his gear, like Lanny
so
Poffo.
he walks outside like that.
Lanny
to his
Poffo used to
car.
do at WCW with the few shows he would show up. He'd walk around in his gear all day. So Excalibur hyped Osprey versus Darby, and Darby backstage and said it's showtime. And Osprey was in another part, talked about warfare and how it would show that he's on another level. Then they showed the very exciting Continental Classic leaderboards, which looks like it doesn't look like when they show those boards with the points and everything. All that it just reminds you of something that doesn't look very serious. It looks like a tic-tac-toe board with sports, and you're kind of trying to. It's a little.
That's the thing,
bit
bro.
complicated. Like if you just turned it on, and you see that, it's very complicated to understand.
Right,
numbers, right,
and it isn't explained. And here's the thing, bro. When they first started, they said that they were going to be more sports oriented. That's why they had the win-loss records in these tournaments. This does not feel sports oriented at all.
Right. So, it's kind of. Let me tell you, this is interesting too. Eric had a conversation with Conrad. All right. And Dave, he was talking about how Dave keeps talking about how Eric stole the NWO concept from New Japan, right? And Eric was talking about like I don't what is this guy talking about? He goes, let me explain my thing with Japan. He says he was going to Japan regularly back during a time when WWE and WCW were having trouble selling tickets. This is the mid '90s or early to mid '90s. Okay, so he was wondering why New Japan was consistently selling out their crowds and why they was having 40,000 people and stuff and stuff, everything, right? So he said the one thing that he noticed was that, and at high ticket prices too. Okay. And he said people in the arena would be wearing suits and stuff. It's like just a very well, it's treated, he said it was treated more like a sport and it was treated seriously. You didn't have plumber characters. You didn't have Repo Man or IRS characters. Right. It was very serious. The product was treated very seriously and not like an insult to the fans. So he said what he took from New Japan wasn't the NWO concept. Said what he took with them is like you got to be kind of more reality based in your programming, which is where the NWO concept came from, where it kind of made it look like it was is Scott Hall really invading from the that was the whole thing of like Scott Hall showed up, and that just triggered something that you hadn't seen forever on TV, and God knows, this never happened. We're like, wait a second, the guy from the other company's coming and invading here, and it was at a period of time when people knew it was a work, but there was still a little small percentage of people where thought it was real, and there was still a respect for the suspension of disbelief.
Yeah, plus that had never been seen before. And let me just say this, and to give credit to Eric, whether he copied it, he was influenced or not, okay? Just about every angle in wrestling is something that's been done before, just like every movie, every musician's been inspired by somebody else. He did something incredible with it. He made it the hottest faction in all of wrestling. There was NWO in Japan. There was, and everybody was doing shirts with the square and putting their own letters in it. Like we did one called Promo Azteca with the square from NWO in Mexico. I mean, there was nothing hotter than that. And when you watch the documentary, all these guys from WWE was saying we were watching the NWO and that was cool.
Right.
You know?
And so even Vince Russo.
Yeah.
You know, people try to claim that Russo's got his ideas from like ECW. He
Right.
says, dude, I was just completely focused on WCW and what
Right.
they were doing. Like, because it was, you know, it was really hot. But
It
the
was hot,
insiders,
very hot, bro.
but the insiders always think that, like, oh, that's ECW. Like, it's like, well, Vince really wasn't like a ECW mark insider. He was a writer for the WWE magazine, you know, the editor. So I was like, all right, so let me continue here. So then they show MJF showing up, which was smart because last week he just
Yeah.
like he showed they didn't even show his face until like this game. So it's like he's gonna be on the show, right? So we open up with Mercedes Monet and Anna Jay uh in for the match for the title. And I gotta admit, bro, Mercedes Monet, that song that she comes out to is so lame. It sounds like it's like produced in like a garage, like the songs like where they're going to see. It's like so, but she didn't have a bad match with this girl. They still do a lot of weird spots, but this was one of Andre's better matches. But Mercedes Moné beat her in 10 minutes and 30 seconds. And after the match, Chris Statlander is watching the monitor backstage. Did you watch this match, Conan?
Yes.
Did you like the work? I thought it was decent.
The work was good. Okay. Good match. Obviously, Anna has tons of potential, but she's still greenish. But I don't think the normal fan can see that. But the trained eye, you can. Sasha was healing and she was still kind of getting cheered. Her mic and character work is not good, but her in-ring still is. And the last thing I have to say is, bro, if you're going to apply the crippler cross face, it says it in the word cross face. It should be across the face, not on the chin. A lot of people do that, and so did Monet.
So next was they had an interview where Dax and Cash are in their home, one of their homes in Asheville, North Carolina. Wheeler said everyone saw what happened to them was over nothing. Said that while they disagree with the methods of the Death Riders, they agree that AEW needs a change and some people need to be forced into it. And Wheeler said they stopped the Death Riders from pouring cleaner down Orange Cassidy's throat. So Wheeler spoke about how they were dragged out of the building. This is ridiculous, okay? They were dragged out of the building and left for dead in the freezing cold.
Right.
All right, bro. This was an arena with like thousands of people in it with security. Like, I thought that line was so absurd. Like they were left out for dead in the cold. Like nobody knew they were out there. It's like so. Hardwood had his elbow wrapped. Then he says Doc Samson wouldn't clear them through the remainder of the year. And Hardwood said they would be cleared for the Fight for the Fallen show and added that they won't be coming alone. So here's the deal with this, Konnan. The Fight for the Fallen show is going to be in Asheville on January 1st, and it's the first show of the new rights deal. Okay. And it's going to be streamed on
Max.
HBO Max too.
Which you have to pay for.
Right. So I understand what they were doing here. Okay, because they're from there and they're promoting it. It's kind of like it's kind of a fundraiser for the people there to the Fight for the Fall and all the people that are affected by the the hurricane floods and stuff, right? But bro, if I was doing this, I would have made this like this was shot like it was a vignette because it wasn't live. They shot from their home. Bro, I would have showed footage of the devastation in North Carolina to try to hit home like the purpose of the show. You know what I'm saying? Like showing some.
Well, that's where they sorely lack, bro. And then they said that a third person was coming with them, and somebody on
I
didn't know. Right, somebody put that in Twitter that Adam Copeland lives in Asheville, which I was not aware of.
They're all good friends. They train together and stuff. So MJF comes out in a Hanukkah themed suit, and he said he basically said if you don't celebrate Hanukkah, Santa Claus is not real. The fans actually chanted for Santa Claus. So then some piano music played. He spoke about starting a charity, and he spoke about a starving child sitting across from you. And MJF said, picture that small child as this baby. And they showed a picture of Adam Cole on the screen and made him look super skinny, like he's frail, like making fun of his physique, right? And MJF says, you buy the pay-per-view, part of your money will go to his foundation to put the small yellow child out of his misery. And he felt the need to tell viewers that Excalibur actually said this, that photo was doctored.
Right, like he needed to say that.
So then MJF finishes promo. This is actually good and a very entertaining heel promo, in my opinion. Okay. So Adam Cole appeared on the screen and said he had a meeting with Tony Khan. I said he would make sure that the MJF can't use that Dynamite Diamond ring before he earns it. And Cole said Matt Taven and Mike Bennett would be there to make sure that doesn't happen. And Taven and Bennett joined Cole, who asked if he was kicking MJF. So then Cole goes, MJF looks at the thing, goes, "What are you talking about?" So the screen goes blank. He turns around. Cole is actually in the ring, and that was a pre-tape. He started punching him and hit him with the super kick. There was a really good super kick and a really good sell. And then went for the Panama Sunrise, and MJF ran away. Bro, I don't know why they did this again. They Konnan, how often did they do this? The visual here once again was Adam Cole and two guys, and MJF is one guy, and it's the three baby faces and the one heel. And I'm like, that's not the visual you want to try.
Right. That's the Booker of the Year 4
Right.
years
I'm
in a
like,
row.
so uh
Bro,
how
you know
often did
what
they
I
do
just
that?
found?
How often did they do that too?
Way too much, bro, and they don't learn from it. Here's the
Yeah.
thing. You're supposed to be a fan. You should know. Even a fan knows better than this. But anyways, this is the part that I had forgotten about, and it makes this whole thing ludicrous. Bro, they're fighting over a ring.
Right. Because they
Really?
don't have the titles, yeah.
Like, what's next? A Cuban link necklace? Or, well, Punk did it with Drew McIntyre, but what's next? One of those friendship bracelets? This is so stupid, bro. A ring?
All right.
Bro, it's hard for me to get into this. I am not liking, and I'm a big fan of Cole and MJF, but I am not liking this feud whatsoever. I didn't like the way it ended, and I'm not liking this. And you talk about unintimidating enforcers, Bennett and Tavern fit the bill.
All right, so Jamie Hayter delivered a promo backstage and said Julia Hart is a coward. They actually showed from Collision Julia Hart attacking Jamie Hayter. They've actually done some pretty decent looking vignettes for Julia Hart, but I still don't buy her being this sinister,
Right.
dark character. And she never ever cuts a promo. Like she never talks or which is So this is Jamie Hayter's issue with Julia Hart, who attacked her from behind. Hayter called it a sneaky and classless move. And Hayter said she would drop hard on her head and fight for the fallen. All right. So then they had a video.
I like Hayter. I like her look, and I like her in-ring work.
Yeah. She speaks seriously too. I like that, but
Yeah.
her shtick is just very basic and simplistic, and I'm not,
Right. She doesn't really have a gimmick. Just
right.
she's tough.
Right. Excalibur said Kenny Omega will compete at the Wrestle Dynasty event on January 5th in Tokyo. He said they will hope to see him back in AEW very soon. Then a video package aired.
Bro, now that you talk about Kenny Omega, because he's been out with an injury, where are the Young Bucks?
They did a thing in Japan too.
Okay.
For the New Japan. Bro, I don't know. It's very weird. Like they need help on this show, and they're coming back on New Japan. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if they're at heat. They have heat with Tony. They have issues with Tony? Because this doesn't seem like they're
Not that I know. I just think they're not. They just don't seem motivated to me, and they've always been a super creative, great matches type guys. And CM Punk ain't there anymore, so their problem is gone. You would think they'd be back. You know what I'm saying? With good ideas and motivated and good promos. But bro, they came back, and I'm a Young Bucks fan, and they've meant nothing like the last 2 years.
So they do Cage, and Nick Wayne and his crew comes out with Sabian and stuff. And Cage still holds that contract case thing, whatever. So they're wrestling Hook and Shibata. Hook and Shibata come out, bro. So this was in a smaller arena.
Yeah, it was like 2,900 people there.
And it's just, bro, the problem with this is there's no pops for anybody's entrance. It's just like there's like applause for these guys coming out. It wasn't that good. And once again, the finish of this match is Mother Wayne jumps up on the apron and makes the referee look like a complete imbecile. And Christian hit Shibata with the kill switch and put Nick on top of Shibata and left the ring. So basically, just the referee looked like an idiot, and all they did was just to sneak in and do a move and snuck out, and that was it. So
let me tell you.
So they're going into a. So the heels go over here.
Okay.
Oh, by the way, too. Wayne this was interesting if you watch this. The outs on these segments were very awkward again. Like, because they kept the camera on the, like the match was over. Christian slid out. Okay, Nick Wayne was in the ring still selling. Okay, and I believe Hook was somebody. Then Hook got in the ring, and Christian was like literally yelling at Nick Wayne to get out of the ring. Because like you would think like like Hook would have to like do something to it, and like it's pretty entertaining if you go back and watch it. I think Christian as a shoot was yelling at Nick Wayne to get out of the ring and stop some because the baby face is back in there and he's going to beat you up or he would have to do something to you, right?
He can't be standing.
Correct.
Let me tell you something about this match. It was a good match, and I'm a big fan of Shabbat. I like his work and his selling is very realistic. But bro, I try to suspend disbelief as much as I can, DI. I don't know Nick Wayne. I do like Hook because I have met him. But bro, they just come off as high school kids versus men.
Right.
It's very hard to take them serious. It's very hard to think they even have a chance. Even when this guy's doing a suplex hook and whatever Nick Wayne does, it's like it looks like if you were playing a basketball game and a high schooler was trying to guard, Giannis like that or Damian Lillard. You know what I'm saying?
I'll give you a perfect example. And this is a problem with this show and the reason why they're just bleeding viewers is that the echo chamber and the bubble of the people that are diehards of this show can't really comprehend the visual picture that like you're portraying every week and people outside that bubble that are looking at this. Like Conan's pointing out, these guys look like kids. On your show, in your perception, though, these are major characters on the show. You know what I'm saying? But like the visual image is like, if you look at this, like really, these kids are small.
Mm-hmm.
You're muted too, Conan. So I thought this was funny. Everybody always knocks us for putting Jericho stuff over, but he was in New York and he had a video. He was talking about New York and being anointed the king of New York. And basically he was what's that segment called that he does, Joe?
Learning Tree?
No, this was the
New York Minute or something.
Yeah, New York Minute, right. So he was in New York and he was putting him over. Then they hyped Jericho versus Matt Cardona for the Ring of Honor Championship on Friday's final battle. So actually there's a Ring of Honor pay-per-view tomorrow night. That's interesting. Going head to head with the college playoff football.
I like when he goes, "Yeah, I'm here with all my fans hobnobbing," and he's like eating a pizza alone, right. And then he's at a double-decker bus with nobody on there.
I thought that was funny. So Bandito, another video of the Bandito.
Let me ask you a question because I didn't ask you this before. What did you think about the two other Bandito things where they're on a Western set, saloon, and what do you think of that?
He needs to come in as a very strong character. They're putting all this into this gimmick. Like he should be really a really strong character. They're investing a lot, into the production of this. Which the vignettes are fine. But he's been on the show previously. This would have been better for what he was. Nobody had ever seen him before.
Right.
But everybody kind of still knows Bandito. But
yeah, I actually
let me ask you a question. Just real quick, Conan. Who is Bandito related to?
I don't remember, to tell you the truth.
Isn't he the brother of who?
His brother is. Wait a minute. I am the astronaut of the Lucha Libre, Gravity.
Yeah.
Oh, Gravity's his brother.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So that makes sense. All right. So Harley Cameron was playing guitar and she sang the 12 Days of Christmas, and they had all the merchandise for Shop AEW stuff. And I'm just sorry, none of it looked like anything I would buy. So Mariah May was backstage and asked if Thunder Rosa became a wrestler to make her family proud. May said she's eclipsed everyone in AEW just by being herself. And May said Rosa can bring her father to the next time they face each other because she'd like to end 2 generations in one night. All right. So I cannot wait to hear what you have to say about this. So Ricochet joined Tony Schiavone in the ring, and he had a kind of a stylish-looking suit. And he asked Tony, so he was about to speak, so Ricochet could actually use the promo time, and he got one sentence out, and they interrupted him.
That's the same thing I was thinking. Let him talk, bro. Let him get his character over.
This is what they used to do. A guy would start talking, get like one sentence in, and there'd be the interruption, right? And so bro, let the guy talk a little bit, right? He didn't get to say anything. So the Hurt Syndicate came out, and he asked if they saw his recent matches, and MVP said they did. And Ricochet said maybe Benjamin could have 6 points in the Continental Classic like he does if he wins this match later in the show. Then Ricochet said Will Ospreay will see a different side of him on Saturday because he was out there. He was literally out there to promote his match against Ospreay for Collision on Saturday. That was the reason they brought him out there. Okay, so mind you, we're promoting Ospreay versus Ricochet. Okay, so Lashley, so MVP asked to see the business card that he gave him. All right. So he reaches in his pocket for the business card. He has a business card on him still. And he pulls it out. So Lashley grabs him by the throat. Okay. MVP takes the card and tears it up and said the offer was off the table because nobody likes a kiss ass. The crowd kind of popped a little bit. Then Lashley released Ricochet, who showed no fight or anything, and he just left the ring and walked to the back like he was like a beaten man.
Right, like a
And
tail,
like
like a
Lashley
dog
and
with his
MVP
tail.
and they wish Benjamin good luck in his Continental Classic match coming up next. And so they made the regs. What did you think of this?
They totally punked the guy.
Right.
Okay, he came off as a super J-Bron, and then when we'll get to it in a minute, what he did backstage made him look like an
Uh,
even bigger J-Bron.
right. So next is Shelton Benjamin versus the Beast Mordos in a Continental Classic Blue match. And actually, Benjamin's very strong because that
Very
Beast
strong.
Mordos guy
Because
does not.
Mordos is
Right.
Mordos is a guy that I worked with in AAA for like 10 years. I helped cultivate him, so I want to see him do better. But he just seems to get the Mexican slot, which is
Well,
you beat everybody except the top guys.
like I said,
And
let's say, do you know what the record of Commander and Mordos combined in the Continental Classic is?
no,
0-6.
right. Well, right.
So,
They're like the
it's like
Hardy
why even put
Cameron. They're just there
like
to
why even
take
put them in
losses.
there?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So, but the one thing about Benjamin, okay, Mortis is a stocky, heavy guy,
Right.
and but bro, Benjamin is throwing this guy around like he's nothing,
Like nothing. Well, he's a
which is
strong
hard to
guy.
do
Look
for
at
a
his
stocky.
physique.
Right. Right.
And he
Yeah.
was an amateur wrestler. Like he's the real deal.
Okay. So after the match, after they beat him, they start beating him up. It's like
Right.
let's just completely bury this guy. So then Daniel Garcia comes
Let's
out.
beat him, then beat him up. Look, what a
So
and
because
no points in the Continental Classic.
right, MVP said this is what Daniel Garcia has to look forward to on Saturday. Now, mind you, Lashley and MVP and Benjamin look like, bro, they look like
They could beat
just the
10
three of
men.
them. That if you took the 5 toughest guys in AEW and put them up against those three, I would put my money on the three.
Right. And
Okay,
Daniel Garcia comes out alone. Oh,
Daniel Garcia comes out and said he's not stupid. He knows it'd be three. This is hysterical. He said he's not stupid.
right.
He knows it would be 3-on-1 if he went to the ring.
Right.
Garcia then said he didn't care. It would give the fans what they want. And bro, not realizing the fans don't want you to look stupid, dude. What are you
Right.
doing? So
You just said you're not stupid.
he heads to the ringside. Then Mark Briscoe comes out and joins him. They hit the ring, and they get the beat out of him. And then
I'm
I'm like,
glad because I thought these two were going to come in and leave them laying. And I was like,
right.
please do not do what I think you're going to do. And they didn't because I think MVP Lashley and Benjamin have a lot of say in what they do, and they're not going to look stupid.
This is the type of stuff that me and Jeff and Vince would argue about. Like this looks like the type of thing that back in the day that TNA days, that the Impact days that Jeff would have booked,
Right.
where the big brave baby face has to come in and challenge, and bro,
Right.
but you just get beat up, and everybody, it's like you didn't look brave, you look stupid because
Right.
like we all knew that was going to happen. I don't,
You don't even get sympathy because you look dumb.
right? It completely devalues you,
Right. Okay. When in
okay.
your whole life, and you've been in wrestling and Georgia and whatever you've done, and even at the strip bar, have you seen one guy, unless he's drunk, challenge three guys?
No, it's absurd.
Right.
Especially a guy that weighs 170 pounds.
Have you ever seen that, Joe?
I've seen it. I have seen
No.
that. No, I haven't seen them challenge like three guys, but I have seen back in Atlanta or Marietta, Georgia. You go to the Cowboy Bar on Wednesday nights. I have seen little guys.
Yeah, but like I said,
guys
they're
that
drunk. They're drunk. If you're drunk, you're an MMA guy. That don't
Right.
count. I'm
Right.
talking about a normal guy.
Right. So what will we see? Okay. All right. So then they show the. Bro, they're so invested in this Continental Classic. They show the leaderboards. They're trying to explain everything. And then they recap the matches.
Too bad we don't have the ratings. I'd love to see that.
Well, Joe, look it up. It's after.
Yeah, no, I've been refreshing it. Nothing yet.
Look at Alvarez. See if Alvarez has it. Go to either Alvarez or Brandon Thurston.
Yep.
So Ricochet was backstage with Renee Paquette. Okay. And he said he didn't know if the business was finished with the Hurt Syndicate. He said he wasn't going to worry about that. He spoke about facing. Now he's talking about facing Will Ospreay Saturday after he's been just completely plugged out. And we really about it. He said he didn't come to AEW just to be in the ring with Ospreay. He came in AEW to beat him. And then he did this weird laugh he's been doing at the end of the promo. He's going, ah.
Yeah, which is stupid.
So he does that. They look over to
And
the
he
side.
must think that's over because he did it again.
Yeah, because Swerve and Prince Nana are there. And Swerve said Ricochet is still a follower. And Ricochet said Swerve didn't win the Continental Classic last year, so eat him up when he wins it this year. And Ricochet did his weird laugh again. And Swerve told Nana that Ricochet is still bald and that Nana laughed. But the funny part about
I didn't
this
understand what was funny about that.
No, it wasn't. But also, I will say this was funny because they were doing the vignette and the crowd was chanting "Whose House, Swerve House," and the sound of the in the arena was drowning out the promo, the backstage.
Let me give you this little tidbit because they said they knew each other for 14 years, which is true. Because when I was in Lucha Underground and I was managing Puma or Ricochet, I asked him, "Hey, is there any good high flyers we can bring in?" And he recommended Swerve.
Right. Okay, so they did an interview. They showed Toni Storm making her return at the end of last week's Dynamite. And mind you, she's had a match on Rampage. Okay. So I wonder if this is just a lack of, what do you want to call it? What this is continuity that they screwed up. Because RJ City interviewed Toni Storm, okay, in a hotel room. And her gimmick now is she acted like she's just some mark that just got into wrestling and she doesn't remember anything of her past history in AEW. And so she doesn't even know what timeless. So she didn't know anything that RJ City was talking about. That she's just like she's glad to be here in AEW now. Like it's the first time she's ever been here.
They must be doing a split personality, like Mankind, and something like that.
I thought this was interesting because you know what she's kind of she's like right now, the Damian Sandow guy. She does like different character acting and stuff, but she's entertaining because she's a good actress.
I looked at her more like Mick Foley with the different characters. But I just think this is JoJo. That Timeless was great, and they could have gotten a lot more out of it. Now, she's going to do that and this Airhead character. We'll see. Maybe she's trying to show if she has range. But I thought the Tony thing, the Timeless thing was interesting, creative, and original.
Yeah, I bet they'll do something like that, Konnan, where she gets, dumped on her head or something. Then all of a sudden she's timeless again. You know what I mean? Like maybe they'll split it up like that, or maybe even a third character.
All right, well, let me make a point here: is that this should have aired before she ever wrestled any match.
Yeah.
This would have made more sense. This would have made more sense from her match on Rampage, where she just came out. She was just a regular, where people were having
knew why. Yeah,
people were, right, exactly. Okay, so but at least they know now. They know the gimmick. So, but I thought this was entertaining. Okay, I liked it. Ospreay versus Darby Allin in a Gold League match. Darby did a coffin drop onto the apron off the top rope and Ospreay moved out of the way, which is, dude, I'm like, wow. But bro, Ospreay lost again. I can't. I mean, this guy, bro.
Okay,
the guy you want to be your top babyface. This guy does way too many jobs.
We brought that up the other day. He does way too many jobs. I have no problem him doing it to Darby because Darby should be positioned as one of the top guys, but he does too many jobs for a top guy. And if you think he's Teflon after a while, he won't be. And bro, this is how geeky the fans are. I was reading on Twitter that people were happy. I didn't even notice this myself, that Ospreay went back to the curls instead of the straight hair. And I was like, what? This match I thought was very good. And Ospreay, who usually doesn't sell, sold in this match. Darby, without a doubt, is the best guy. Bro, he sells good. Everything looks as believable. He has intensity.
I'm gonna be the devil's advocate.
There's nothing you can do devil's advocate.
I will say this.
Yeah.
Most of the match is very good. I do not like when they do these random explosive spots where you do exchange boom back and forth. You no-sell a couple of the moves. I'm not a fan, but their crowd likes that.
Yeah,
and they'll go,
bro, they did a lot of good. They did a lot of good selling.
They do.
And then when he did the AJ Styles crash to the floor, he protected him. He didn't even land on his knees.
Right. Yeah. So that was bro. Like I said,
this to me was the best thing on the show.
There's just no map of what's devastating enough to beat you, because that should be stuff where the guy's like down and out and gets counted out.
Right.
Styles Clash off the apron onto the floor.
Right. Or
That should have been
beat
the
him.
count out, right? So then they do the main event. It's Moxley, Yuta, and Pac against Hangman, Orange Cassidy, and Jay White. And take a wild guess what happened to me.
To you?
Yeah.
Your thing got cut off. Your power.
Yep. I don't even get to see the finish. So
You
tell me what happened.
You're supposed to record your DVR an extra 10 minutes.
You guys want to tell me what happened? Because I just saw like the dude getting ready for the go home spot, and the match ended, or for the show ended.
Yeah, well, the two guys weren't able to get along, so the Death Riders won. Not interested, not invested, and not about this. And I'd like to see the ratings on this.
Okay, so next is after the match. It says Paige, Cassidy, and White bickered until Moxley, Pac, and Cassidy only surrounded them on the apron. This is after they beat him, I guess. And Moxley escaped with Sharif. A brawl broke out. Then Moxley got away while Shafir, Paige, and Cassidy and White got the better of the brawl. And Excalibur said there'd be no escape for Moxley in the four-way at World's End. All right? So let me give you Powell's POV here. I don't get the strategy. Moxley's a heavy favorite going in the four-way match. If they want to play up the idea that he's at a disadvantage in this match, then he shouldn't have been the one to issue the challenge for it. Furthermore, he pinned Cassidy in the six-man match while Paige and White bickered, which sends a message that he can do something similar at World's End. If that doesn't get it done, there are no disqualifications in the four-way, so there's nothing stopping the other Death Riders from interfering.
I'm not interested. Let me just say this.
And let me tell you another thing, too. Ospreay versus Ricochet on free TV televised. This is a match that you would think, based on their history, you'd promote it to gain interest in. They made you completely disinterested in the wrestling this weekend because Ricochet got punked and Ospreay lost.
Yeah. I think when I look at the show, the best thing to me was the Hurt, and they usually are the best thing, the Hurt Syndicate.
Mm-hmm.
And the Darby Allin Ospreay, which I thought was just a really good match. You know, the girls' match was good. But other than that, there was nothing that, like, I do not like the MJF. I do not like the Death Rider. I do not like their feud against Team AEW. Right. Why am I being a hater?
I'm just telling you, that's what the fans are going to think. You're just being a hater.
Bro, like I ever they thought before, now I'm going to start.
Yo, what's up? I just want to thank you guys for watching this clip. Don't forget to hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. And join our YouTube membership for hours and hours of exclusive, unedited, uncensored content. And being a member will help you get involved in our upcoming live streams. Thank you for your support. Thank you for riding with us. I know you got a lot of other podcast choices, be it wrestling or other ones. And thank you for picking us. Boom.